Oftentimes when people hear prediction or even forecast, they're thinking of a crystal ball where you're asked a question and you can give a definitive answer. When we are thinking about forecasts, all we're saying is we're thinking probabilistically about an uncertain future. So rather than shrugging our shoulders and going with a hunch, we're finding uncertainty that we can quantify. And we're finding that we can quantify more than we thought. And we're finding that we can quantify it with more precision than we knew. There's a process that anyone can apply to improve their forecasting accuracy to make better decisions. I had happened to read Professor Tetlock's earlier book, Expert Political Judgment, and really liked it. And so one day in my old day job on Wall Street, I was just curious what he was up to. And he was announcing a new research project and was asking for people who might like to forecast on geopolitical and macroeconomic events. And I thought, well, that sounds fun. The U.S. intelligence agencies were genuinely looking for ways to improve their skills. And one of the ways they wanted to do so was to start with the wisdom of the crowd. In that first year, about a decade ago now, a group of forecasters consistently did better than the rest. That prompted a new research question. What would happen if they took those people who are really good and put them on smaller elite teams? Would they get better, or would they revert to the mean? They gave us hours and hours of psychometric tests. So there's a small subset of things that really does matter. Being good at pattern recognition, being actively open-minded thinking, and also being cognitively reflective, where when you're presented with a challenge or a problem, there may be a solution that pops to mind. And do you just go with that answer, or do you say, well, wait a second, let me slow down and see if there's something else going on that will give me a more accurate answer? And those three basic things are ways to pre-screen potentially talented forecasters. I was Exhibit A because I was horrible in the first year, but got better in the second year and came up through the ranks to be what they called a super forecaster. Who's going to win the next election, or who's going to win the World Cup, or anything? Most people will focus on the question itself and really get caught up in that, an inside view. But the thing is, the inside view is a place to end, not to start. In the case of, say, presidential election 2 years from now, who's going to win? Most people will start thinking, well, Biden this and Trump that. No, just pause and say, first, how often do incumbent presidents get reelected when they run for a second term? It's that simple. Ideally, it's a number. When you say, oh, it's likely that Putin is going to withdraw from Ukraine, what does that mean? What does likely mean? Give us a number. We use probabilities all the time thinking about the weather. We see it in sport all the time. So it's already there. And this is pretty much the same approach, just to other areas where we can usefully express our views with numbers. And that new information could be a news story, it could be something somebody tells you. In your work life, you might make it even quite formal, where you will have contributions from the team members anonymous. By having it anonymous, we don't get anchored on a high status individual. What often happens is everyone will try and anticipate what the boss wants to hear. So instead of getting diverse perspectives, you hear clones. If you're looking to have a dynamic, successful team that is going to really deliver the best possible results, you want people from different backgrounds, different perspectives, different life experiences. There's a mosaic. We all have tiles. We're trying to fill in as many tiles as possible. And if we all have the same tiles, we're not going to get very far filling out the mosaic. A good forecaster, they're always testing their beliefs. So rather than protecting them inside a lockbox, they're always challenging. What am I missing? A bad forecaster will have a belief about the world, a model of the world, and defend it against all challenges because they are convinced this is right. So that's the idea of a hedgehog who just really grabs onto something and does not let go, versus a fox where they'll be agile, eagerly seeking out new information. So if you're looking for people to put on your team, you can ask them, is it a good idea to change your mind when new information comes in? Hedgehogs will say no. Foxes will say yes. Changing your mind is not a big deal. And in fact, and this was kind of the revelation for me, is you should expect to change your mind. By definition, you don't know everything. And that's where the humility comes in too, is recognizing that our understanding of the world is necessarily limited. What we can do is pool all our limited information and be seeking out the key information from others as we evolve our thinking, as we update our forecast. And the tools that we have at our disposal to make better use of all that information, that's improving all the time. So while the world is getting more uncertain in many fundamental ways, our ability to process that uncertainty is also getting better all the time. The way I think about it is, again, let's go to history. What's our base rate? And our base rate is machines over time do more and more of the heavy lifting, right? Leaving us, humans, more time to do what we do well, which is judgment, right? Predicting what other humans are going to do is something that the machines are still not so good at. That's the judgment where we still excel. It sounds esoteric, but it's actually quite simple. It's a world of decisions, and thinking more clearly is actually easier than it appears and is easier than not doing it in the first place.